Hello, change makers, trailblazers, visionaries, winners, and dreamers. Thank you so much for tuning in to this video. If you've already subscribed to this channel, awesome. Thank you so much. A lot of gratitude. If you haven't yet, join the family. Join the family of the winning tribe and people who are here to grow one another, support one another, and be the best versions of ourselves that we can ever be. So, today's video, I'm sharing a personal story, a journey of how I went to the University of Oxford for the very first time, how I was fully sponsored to go to the University of Oxford, when, why, how, and where. All those details will be in this video. I will also share tips for some young people out there on how they can make something out of nothing, because I did not start with anything, but I'd like to believe that I am somewhere further than where I was years back. So if this is content you feel you would be interested in, please stay tuned and let us meet on the other side. So it all started when once upon a time there lived a little girl. This little scrawny tiny girl had just finished her high school and she had big dreams and ambition to work for a TV station or be a journalist. This little girl enrolled for her journalism degree at a university in Uganda called Victoria University. Alas, after about the first semester, the university had to close due to various reasons. To the little girl then, it felt like her whole world just came crashing before her. She was doing the course of her dreams and it was right in the middle of the year, meaning universities did not have intakes, so that would have been considered a dead year to her. She was so devastated. She was wondering, where else am I going to apply to do the degree of my choice? Fortunately, she had a very understanding dad. The dad told her, "My daughter, do not despair. Everything happens for a reason. Let us see how we can turn this mishap into an opportunity." So the little girl said, "Okay, Daddy, I hear you. So what next?" Then he said, "Look around for other universities, even if they're not in the country, so that we can weigh our options." So, lo and behold, the little girl searched online day and night, looking for universities that would have intake at probably the end of the year, so at least the whole year would not go to a waste. Luckily enough, she did find a university, and it was all the way in Mauritius. Now, in case you hadn't already figured it out, that little girl was me. I did find a university in Mauritius, and even if they were not offering media or journalism by then in that particular intake, they did have another degree that I had always dreamed of doing, and that was law. When I saw that they were offering law and I applied, I had doubts. I was like, okay, are they really going to let me, a girl child, in the beloved conservative country of Uganda, go all the way to Mauritius to study? Because the stereotype by then is, or was, if you send your child out or abroad, especially the girl child, they will either get into drugs or come back pregnant or never come back home again. But you see, I really wanted to go. I had a dream, an ambition, a hunger stirring inside of me, but I didn't know whether my family would let me go or even if they would afford, because we come from a humble background. Interestingly enough, when I gave my dad the news and told him of my admission, he was so excited. He championed the cause even more than I did. He was even more enthusiastic than I ever imagined. And that brings me to a very interesting point. If there's any father out there that is watching this video, believe in your children, more especially the girl child, because coming from a country where the stereotype then was the girl child. Much as they are educated, they need to live a particular way, they need to grow up to have husbands and families, and if they don't do that, then they don't amount to nothing. So many girls look to their dads for validation, and the fact that my dad was championing the cause more than I was, the fact that he was more excited for me than I could have ever imagined, really lit a fire in me that I cannot even begin to describe and explain. So I got my admission. I went to Mauritius. As you can see in this picture, it was my dad carrying my suitcase on his head because he was so excited. And he says that even when he was going to university, I think the first time he was going to high school, grandfather carried his suitcase for him because he was so proud. And that act did something to me. Like, he unknowingly sowed a seed of hope for me. And I remember entering that plane and thinking, I'm gonna get to that island and I'm gonna make dad proud. Sorry, every time I think about it I get emotional because I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my god, me, I had never dreamed of going out of the country. I thought, okay, I'm gonna go get my university degree, probably get a job, get employed, start a family, the typical. But here I was flying to Mauritius, an island, a destination I never thought was possible. And when I went and googled the pictures of Mauritius, and I saw how so exquisite, how beautiful it was, and I was wondering, is this a dream? Is this really happening? Am I really flying out all the way to be away for 3 years and study law? Like, is this really happening to me, Natalie? I was in disbelief. I think it's only until when I landed and I looked around that reality began to dawn on me. And I remember the moment I touched down, I said to myself, Natalie, I don't know what the next 3 years have in store for you, but you're gonna go to that island, you're gonna get that degree, you're gonna study hard, you're gonna do whatever it takes, and you're gonna make dad proud. You're going to prove all those people wrong that said if you send the girl child, they're more likely to get spoiled, because you have what it takes within you. You can do it and you will do it. So from the first day, or the first from the first moment I entered the university, I was always looking out for opportunities. I remember making so many friends. I was friends with so many lecturers, so many people. I was in literally almost every club you could think of at the university. I remember at one point also running for student council, though I dropped out at the end of it all. So that is how I came across this opportunity. I remember thinking, okay, what do I want out of this university experience? I didn't want to just leave with a degree. I wanted it to be like a holistic approach whereby I benefited from all sorts of facets that the whole university experience had to offer. So I remember I made it a point to always search online for different opportunities, and luckily enough I came across a link from an organization called YALDA, which stands for Youth Alliance for Leadership and Development in Africa. So I saw that they were hosting the first Model African Union Summit at the University of Oxford, and they were calling upon young people to apply, and they wanted a delegation of 6 people. Now, case in point, to a little background, I founded an organization in my high school called Young and Rich Africa. It was basically an organization where I would go to read for young kids in high school and encourage them to read, encourage them to save. So now when I was applying, I was thinking about going to the University of Oxford, getting connections that would help our organization. I say our because I co-founded it with my very good friend called Daniel Miko, because him and I shared the same vision and passion. So I wanted us to go out there and make connections and see how we can garner more support for the organization. So I remember looking at the list. Then I told my younger brother, because he was also a director in our youth organization. I'm like, guys, here's an opportunity for us to go to the University of Oxford. I've already applied, and based on my proposal and my pitch, I've been selected. But now I need a team. But more importantly, we don't have the money. How are we going to do this? So I remember sitting down with Daniel and my brother and thinking, okay, what are the resources we have? And it was my dad who gave us the idea. Okay, you are young people and you've done really good work in the past for the community. Why don't you write to the president? Guys, like, what? Write to the president? The president of where? Of what? It's like, yeah, the president of the country. Tell them you're young people doing this and that and that, and you would like to go to the University of Oxford, and you have gathered this amount of support, and you would need more support. Those who know my dad will always know, like most people who know my dad know him for his crazy ideas. But I mean, there we were, we didn't have so many options. So I remember me, Daniel, and my brother sitting down and saying, okay, why not? Let's just go for it. So I sat down, I drafted the letter. You can see this is a snapshot of the letter. In all my glory and and bravery, I wrote to His Excellency, the President of Uganda. I told him about the projects we've been doing, and I told him about the opportunity to visit the University of Oxford and how we've been selected, but we need support. Ladies and gentlemen, I did not expect a reply. Lo and behold, we did get a reply, and the Office of the President promised to pay for our tickets, our flight tickets, for the three of us to go and represent the country, of course, since we're all Ugandans, at the University of Oxford. Bruh. That was the most unbelievable moment in my life. I'm like, this is actually happening. So of course, once we get the confirmation from the Office of the President, I now go to our university director. She was called Dr. Karen. I explained to her, oh, Dr. Karen, this is an opportunity for us to go to the University of Oxford. I believe it's going to present the university in a good light. It's a good opportunity. We got a bit of funding, but we still need some funds to, help us along the way that was going. So she's like, oh my God, okay, that's a good opportunity. As the university will be able to put and contribute such and such an amount. And this is a really good initiative. We're so proud of you. Go out there and make it work. So just like that, the university topped up what was left to pay for my visa and the accommodation. So the Office of the President was catering for the tickets. The university was catering for the visa and accommodation. Luckily enough, at the conference, they were catering for everything else. They were going to transport us from the airport to the venue and give us meals for the duration of our stay. Guys, just like that. Just like that, the trip was catered for. And it's amazing how things just fall into place. Of course, what made it easier for the university to support me, I told you from the moment I set my foot on the island, I was like, I'm going to do whatever it takes to make the best of this opportunity. So I was in literally most societies. I made sure I attended all my lectures. I was friends with the lecturers. I worked really hard on my studies. So, and it being a small university as well. So at some point in time, the principal, Dr. Karen, had heard of me or knew about me, so it was not so difficult for the university to make that decision. So, just like that, I managed to travel to the University of Oxford. Unfortunately, my brother didn't manage to make it due to visa. His visa delayed a bit. Daniel, my colleague, he had issues with his passport. So by some twist of fate, I was the only one able to make it to the University of Oxford. Now, same story. When I was on that flight to the University of Oxford, I remember thinking to myself, Natalie, here we are once again on an unbelievable flight. And I made a promise to myself, once you get there, do whatever it takes, make the most of that opportunity, and come out the winner. Or if there was it wasn't even a competition, but I just wanted to really maximize and just take it all. I don't know if that makes sense to some of you out there. Anyway, so we get to the University of Oxford, and we were welcomed by an amazing, really wonderful team. She's now a doctor, Dr. Victoria Domitila. Shout out to you if you're watching this. They really received us so well. The team, Bukamu, Laone, Matthews, Mpomi. We went to the University of Oxford. We held the summit for a duration of about 3 days, and I remember attending all the delegation sessions. I would even attend sessions that were not meant for me because I was hungry. I wanted to experience it all. I wanted to live the moment. I wanted to just exhaust myself. I just wanted to pour everything I had out. So I attended every delegate session. I remember some of the delegates would go out to have fun, experience Oxfordshire, but I was like, no, let's stay, let's have meetings, let's discuss. And lo and behold, it paid off. They didn't tell us, but apparently they were awarding. There were awards. None of us knew. We just thought it was just a summit. We'd go, do what we have to do, network, and come back to our respective countries. So on the final day, they invited 2 special guests, and that was one, the former excellency of His Former Excellency of Botswana, who unfortunately has passed on as we speak, and also His Former Excellency of Ghana, His Excellency John Kufuor. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that name right. So now here we are seated in a really majestic looking hall. Those of you who've been to Oxford University know how those halls are set up in such a very Victorian and elegant, exquisite style. And then they're like, okay, so we are awarding the best performing delegates that have been really outstanding throughout the summit. My heart started pumping. I'm like, what? They were awarding? We didn't know. You should have told us, then we would have probably done this or that or the other. So they call a couple of names, and my heart is pounding. I'm like, oh my God. And then my name is called. Just like that. Guys. So they call your name. You had to walk up to the podium, receive the certificate, shake His Former Excellency's hand, and smile for a picture. Those 2 or 5 minutes were amazing. Like, wow, just wow. Here I was thinking, what? All my hard work paid off. All my determination paid off. All I had to do was make sure I stood out. All I had to do was make sure I worked hard. I wasn't the smartest person in the room. We had delegates from Harvard University, delegates from USI University, delegates from universities across Africa. And here I was, Natalie Mukudane from the village of Kashenyi in Uganda, studying for a law degree in Mauritius, being called to the podium to accept a certificate recognizing me for my outstanding performance. Amazing. So that was the experience. It was such a life-changing experience. It made me believe that it doesn't matter what you have. What matters is what you make with what you have. I don't know if that makes sense. I'm not trying to sound like a motivational speaker or anything like that, but there are moments in life that happen to you and they make you reflect. You ask yourself, okay, why me? Like, what's so special about me? Like, what did I do different? And then you think about the events that led to that particular moment, and then you realize, actually, anyone else could have done this. Anyone else could have been in this position. But it's just that hunger, that foresight. I know I saw somewhere that if you want something bad enough to go out and fight for it, then of course you will get it. So now I know I also promised that I would share some tips for youth out there that believe they have nothing to work with or nothing to start with. And I'm just going to share 2 tips that worked for me. And the first one is look for a solution that you can provide for your community. What set the ball rolling for me and how all this was made possible, because of course to get to the summit my proposal had to be accepted, was the fact that I had the NGO Young and Rich Africa. And this was something that I started in high school, more or less as a joke. Okay, not as a joke, but you understand what I mean. Like, it wasn't something I expected would, take me somewhere. I just realized, okay, I love reading, but there's so many people around me who don't love reading. Why? Maybe they don't have access to books. Why? Maybe they don't know how to read. Why? Maybe they think reading is for, like the Western culture and all that. They actually do not know the benefits of reading. So I was like, okay, that's a problem in the society around me or in the community around me. How can I solve it? One, I gathered books from friends, family, well-wishers, and then we'd go to high school and donate some books. We'd go to high schools and talk to students about the benefits of reading and saving. So now I don't know what sort of young person is watching this. I don't know what sort of problem is in your community, but sit down, think, reflect. What is that one thing you've thought, I wish there was someone who could do this better? I wish this could be improved. It doesn't matter whether you're 16, 17, 18, don't be scared. Speak to your parents or people around you. Tell them the idea that you have. And if you have a really good support system, trust you me, they're going to support you. Secondly, information is power. I know this has been said a lot of times to the point that it sounds cliche, but really information is power. I would not have come across that opportunity if I had not gone on the internet and searched for it. So you're lucky, most of you in this generation, you're in the information age. How many Instagram accounts or Facebook accounts do you subscribe to of organizations or companies that are in the line of work that you want, or organization of companies where you'd want to work in one day? You need to set the environment around you in that you have a lot of information that is going to propel you to your dream, coming at you from all sorts of directions. Then of course, those who know me, I'm an advocate for books. Love knowledge, love information. Even if you don't have access to books, there are YouTube tutorials. Even if you don't have access to YouTube tutorials, look around you in your community, people who have the knowledge from the kind of sector that you want to be in. Talk to them, take them out for coffee, or ask your parents to introduce you to them. Get to learn from them. Learning never stops. And the moment you know even just 1% more than the person next to you, trust you me, it's going to work to your favor. The moment opportunity strikes, it's only going to come for the prepared. Sorry if I sounded like a motivational speaker. That was not my intention. My intention was to share my journey with you, to take you through the emotions that I felt, to let you know that no one called me up and told me, oh, Natalie, there's this opportunity, or there wasn't ready money that was just there. Okay, Natalie, have this, go. Everything we had to work for. We had to fundraise. We had to write proposals. And in the end, it all paid off. So yeah, that was the story of my journey. I know it's been a long video, and I really hope if you've watched it till the end, it's really been worth it. Thank you so much for your kind attention and for sharing this journey and experience with me. Once again, if you haven't subscribed, welcome to the family. Do hit the button below and subscribe. And those who have, thank you so much once again. Much appreciated, much humbled, and I hope to see you in my next video. Till next time. Mwah.